Welcome to Magic Tale World, where every story comes alive with wonder. Let's open the book and begin our adventure together.
In a tiny, cozy hole at the edge of a vast, golden field lived a little country mouse. His home was simple, filled with a sweet smell of fresh grass and wildflowers. His life was peaceful and happy. One sunny afternoon, a fancy carriage pulled up, and out stepped his cousin, the town mouse, dressed in a smart little suit. "Cousin!" "Welcome," chirped the country mouse, his whiskers twitching with excitement. He proudly offered his guest the best food he had, a juicy barley corn, a crisp piece of turnip, and a handful of sweet, dried peas. The town mouse wrinkled his nose. "My dear cousin, is this really how you live? On roots and seeds? You must come with me to the city. I'll show you what real living is all about. Feasts every night, wonders at every corner." The country mouse had never left his field before. The idea was both thrilling and a little scary, but his cousin's stories of magnificent feasts were too tempting to resist. So, packing nothing but his courage, he agreed. "All right, cousin, let's go to the town." They waited until nightfall and hopped into the back of a cart heading towards the distant, glowing lights of the city. The journey was bumpy and noisy, so different from the quiet countryside. When they finally arrived, the country mouse was amazed. The buildings were like mountains, the streets were a river of rushing carriages, and the noise was a constant roar. The town mouse led him to a grand mansion. They scurried through a tiny crack in the wall and found themselves in a magnificent dining room. The country mouse's eyes went wide. The table was piled high with leftover food from a grand dinner party. There were cakes with creamy frosting, mountains of cheese, and glistening jellies of every color. "See," whispered the town mouse, puffing out his chest. "Didn't I tell you? Help yourself, cousin." The country mouse couldn't believe his luck. He nibbled a piece of cheese that was sharper and richer than anything he'd ever tasted. He took a bite of a soft, sweet cake. This was the life. But just as they were enjoying their feast, the dining room door creaked open. A huge shadow fell across the table. Two giant, glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. "Meow," a deep voice rumbled. It was the house cat. "Run!" squeaked the town mouse. They scrambled off the table and dove for their little hole in the wall, their hearts pounding like drums. The country mouse had never been so terrified in his life. Once they were safe, the town mouse chuckled nervously. "Just the cat. She comes around sometimes. Don't worry. We're safe now." They waited until the coast was clear and crept back to the table, but their feast was interrupted again, this time by the thunderous barking of two large dogs who had been let in for the night. Woof, woof, they bounded into the room, sniffing around the table legs. Once more, the two mice scurried for their lives, their delicious meal forgotten. They huddled in the dark, trembling. Finally, when all was quiet again, the country mouse turned to his cousin. His voice was shaky. "Cousin," he said, "you can have your fine feasts and your grand house. They come with too much fear for my liking." "What do you mean?" asked the town mouse, surprised. "This is exciting. Maybe for you, said the country mouse, "but I would rather have my simple barleycorns and peas in peace and safety than the most delicious cake in constant terror. Your life is full of luxury, but it's also full of danger. My life is simple, but it is safe and peaceful." He looked at his cousin kindly. "Thank you for showing me the town, but I belong in the country." And so, at the first light of dawn, the country mouse made his way back to his little home in the field. As he nibbled on a piece of turnip in the warm sunshine, listening to the birds sing, he knew he had made the right choice. He breathed in the fresh country air and smiled. There was no feast in the world better than the simple joys of peace and quiet. He realized that a simple life with peace of mind is better than a rich one filled with fear. Did you enjoy the story of the town mouse and the country mouse? If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful stories. Thanks for watching.